Greetings, Professor Falcon.
Hello, Joshua?
Strange game. The only winning move is not to play.
So there you go. That was the big tip-off. And this was repeated in the movie Tron Legacy with Jeff Bridges. The only way to win is not to play. Covered this many times, but not with war games. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, short and sweet. This one will blow you away. I have some new information to show you, some new decoding efforts, some new methodologies, or a new methodology. So here we go. This is the man who actually was the voice of the computer that you just heard right here. It was John Wood. That was Dr. Falcon, but he was the voice of Joshua. His birthday. He was born on July 5th. He died on August 6th. There's the 56. There it is. Lights, camera, action. The only way to win is not to play. Well, when you keep going with this kind of stuff, man, and you start decoding these things, it starts to get really interesting. Look at where he went to college. Jesus College. All right, I'm going to get a lot of shit for this. I don't care. People can't handle the code. Forget about the truth. People can't handle the code. Because we're living inside of a computer. We're living inside of a movie. So we're going to break this down. I'm going to go to Chaldean and I'm going to decode a strange game. The only winning move is not to play. 159 is the outcome. 159 in chemistry is gadolinium. The GD element, which is a acronym for God. You're on television. That's why why television? Because gadolinium was used in television screens. See? So if you don't want to play anymore, are you starting to get the dots connected here? Yeah, you're on television, man. And 64 possible codons in our DNA. You see? And on top of that, it's the game of chess. It's exactly what he says. If you keep going with this, I don't know if they'll say it here, but I think I have it right here. Yeah. How about a nice game of chess? Yeah. Well, that's because there are 64 squares on a chessboard. And you see, the game of Jesus, so we can be very crystal clear, is a game of duality. It's a game of worship because it offers you, well, don't go to the devil, come to me so I get all the energy. And it's the DNA game. Gadolinium, you're in the light game. Light is needed for television screens. It's black against white. The Battle of Armageddon in Revelation 16 verses 16 is 16 pieces of white, 16 pieces of black. But let me support that it is the game of Jesus so we can be crystal clear. When you add up the neutrons, protons, and electrons of gadolinium, you get 223, which is exactly the isotope of the 87th element called francium. And francium has 87 protons, which is exactly the original Greek numerology for Jesus. 87. You see? Notice that 223 is the 322 backwards. No coincidence there. Skull and bones. Revelation 3 verses 15 completely tells you how all of this works. Jesus telling the church of Laodicea, hey, I know your works, and you're neither cold nor hot, but I wish you were one or the other. This is what this says. I wish you would choose cold or hot. Which is what? It's this. I wish you would choose white or black. Because if you don't pick a side, you're non-polarized. In order to stay in the game, I need you to pick a side. That's what this means. So when you go further into this, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the humdinger, and this is what I want to introduce brand new for you. This is a cipher that I have on Dakota, but I haven't really used it. But OMG, no pun intended, the square root of 3 is a massive cipher because it represents the prison, the fish bladder, the ichthys, the NFL football, the miter hat. These are the two circles, raw radius, coming together and forming the square root of 3, being that 1.73. 173 is the 40th prime number, which is tied to Sheol, which means hell. Well, when you use this cipher and you bring in Revelation 3 verses 15, it's exactly a match to prison of Jesus. How about that? 61, which is tied to this element called nickel, which means devil's copper. And we know Jesus is tied to Venus, which is the element of copper. And it's the flower of life, because Jesus offers you eternal life, stuck inside the prison right here. And when we do the numerology of nickel using the square root of 3 cipher, we get the number 22. And 22, I'm just going to go on the fly here and show you this. 22 is tied to this. Duality. You see, I wish you would pick hot or cold so you could stay in the game of duality. That's this. That is this, man. Nickel. Nickel is a 5-cent piece. 5 is your 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 senses. And when I took the 22 and I went into the square root of 3 to locate it, it occupies digit 216 and 217. And that's going to give you 433. But the main thing was the total amount of digits added up was 937, which is the 159th prime number. You're on television. Team light, team dark. This is tree of life. This is tree of knowledge. The GD element. 64 squares on a chessboard. 64 possible codons in our DNA. So when you take nickel and you add it to the gadolinium, you get the tree of life and tree of knowledge. The isotope 159, the isotope 61, you get 220. That is the original Hebrew numerology of tree of life and tree of knowledge of good and evil, because it's tied to the white and the black. And this is Jesus asking you, I wish you would pick one. I wish you would pick the tree of life or tree of knowledge. Right there, I wish you were picking one to stay in the game. So to finish this short decode up, we also have not just nickel, we have promethium. We have nickel here, but we have promethium, Prometheus, here. And I went and took this statement, the only winning move is not to play, and there it was in the square root of 3 cipher, 145. There's the connection. There's the connection. The only way to win is not to play the prison of Jesus. And to finalize this decode, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go right back to John Wood. I'm going to show you we live in a scripted reality. So if you're finding this information, congratulations, you were supposed to find it. You're here for a reason, specifically here for a reason, to see through this prison. John Wood was born on July 5th. He died on August 6th. Here are his 2 birth cards. July 5th, 10 of diamonds. August 6th, 7 of diamonds. They are diamonds, Lucy in the sky with diamonds. But these right here, ladies and gentlemen, end up leading to this element nickel because of the fact that 107 is the 28th prime number. And 28 is nickel, which has an isotope 61, which is tied to the prison of Jesus. Which is tied to, if you're not going to pick a hot or cold, man, I wish you would pick one. Yeah, war games. War games. And finally, the last thing I will show you, 10 of diamonds is card 36, 7 of diamonds is card 33. What happens when you add 36 and 33? You get yin yang. And what is yin yang, folks? This, which is exactly what Jesus wants you to pick. Lukewarm for the win, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go, short and sweet. War Games Decoded. My name is Logan, Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.